Good morning. What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well here today. Let's jump in. We are in what I would call a soft bull channel currently. We, of course, got CPI this morning, and the market has completely reversed and taken a bit of extra grounding here. So, right now, I got to tell you, I am looking for, I don't want to say any excuse to get long, but I'm kind of in that boat. Any excuse within reason to get long until this move changes, I'm into it. So, let's see what we get. We are about 4 minutes out from the rollover of this 5-minute bar. We're going to keep an eye on the 2-minute as well, because the 2-minute is kind of doing its thing over here. Let's take a look. This is the 2. You can see this move looks relatively clean. Couple of consecutive bull bodies closing near their highs. Let's see what this one brings. Let's actually stick here on the 2 for the next couple of, maybe minute. And see if we get an entry here on the 2 on this bar. I would need to see those bulls pop this a little higher. I don't really want to see a growing bull body, believe it or not, because that would put us too high in what I'm calling a soft bull channel. Good morning, guys. How we doing? Roy, Christian, Javaz. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Ricardo, One Eye, how we doing? Derek. All right. 35 seconds out. Let's see if the bulls can put something together here. All right, 10 seconds. Get ready. We're seeing some adjusting. Nothing there on the 2. Let's pop back to the 5. Actually, what we should do is check out the 1 for a second. Yeah, maybe. Decent little bull body there, kind of clean. But let's head back to the 5 and see what that has to offer us here in the next couple of minutes. Hey, Chris, Cass, good morning. Giovanni Joe, good morning, brother. 778 to pass your take profit trader eval. Take it easy. I like to size down into the finish line on evals. That goes for take profit. Well, that goes for Apex certainly. With take profit, I'll just tell you straight up what I do. I try to get half the profit target day 1, and then half the profit target day 2, and then flip the next 3 days. That's an ideal world. Sometimes it doesn't happen, right? So sometimes you might end up spending 3, 4, 5 days, maybe more, trying to just get to the profit target. But in an ideal world, if I'm starting a fresh one, I'm just trying to get half day 1, half day 2. So maybe I size down toward the second half of day 2 on a take profit trader eval, or, you know, whenever I'm getting close, whatever day it might be. On Apex, I'll tell you straight up, I'm always trying to pass them in like a day if I'm focusing on it. I might hold it for longer, but if I pick one and I'm like, all right, it's time to pass this one, just get it done, or a couple. Though usually, honestly, I trade Apex evals one at a time. Just because messing with the copy trader is such a pain. I try to finish it as quickly as I can within reason. I'm not just trading 10 minis on a 50K. But I try to get it done quick over at Apex. At take profit, obviously you have to trade the full 5 days. All right, 55 seconds left here on the 5-minute. Again, of course, I'm taking a look at this. We have kind of a wedge going on. Me, I'd call it a soft bull channel. So, you know, am I really excited about getting long up here? Not terribly. I mean, I would, but I'd much rather try to get long on a bear body closing near the low down here, to be honest with you. So let's see what we get here. You know, 22 seconds out. This bull body doesn't look too promising as far as a setup. Maury, does the same go for the buffer zone in a funded account? He's saying compared to evals, or do you do it differently? I trade the fundeds consistently sized. Pretty much the whole buffer zone. Now, the reason I do that is because there's a consistency rule in the fundeds. I'm assuming we're talking Apex right now, okay? There's a consistency rule and there's a minimum trading days. So you can't rush what can't be rushed. So, for example, in a 50K Apex funded, I usually lately have been starting with 5 micros. Which, to me, it feels like a good balance. I feel like 1 mini is especially if volatility picks up in a 50K Apex, I feel like 1 mini is kind of big for me. And I feel like 2 or 3 micros is a little small. Like, it kind of takes a little too long to get. It takes more than the minimum trading days to get to a payout. And, you know, come on, more than the minimum. Come on now. So I usually start at like 5 micros and just see what kind of progress we can make on a 50K funded at Apex. And then the ratio stays the same depending. I don't base it on the account size. So I'm not tripling for a 50 to a 150. I base it on the drawdown. So I might double at max, trade 1 mini in 150K Apex. But you know, you could also go double minus a little bit because it's a little harder to pass and maybe you want to hang on to the account a little longer on average in the bigger Apex accounts, you know what I mean? Because they're a little harder to pass. So do whatever you want. I mean, approach it however you'd like. That's just what I do. But don't base it on the account size, your sizing. Don't say, well, it's 3 times the size as a 50K. 150 is 3 times a 50. No. The drawdown is double. All right, let's pop over to the 2 and see what's going on. All right, well, I mean, honestly, I really like the 5 right now. We know that this wedge is here. But if we do get a strong bull body that closes near the high, I don't want it to be massive. I wouldn't want it to look like this necessarily. But if we closed like here in 2 minutes from now, I would. I'd buy the high a day on the rollover using a stop limit buy and just risk the signal bar. That'd be a good trade for me. Now, of course, you're risking it just being the soft bull channel that it is, pulling in. But the alternative for me to get short, I would have to wait for maybe a bar like this, kinda. Stop limit sell beneath it. Even that I wouldn't be too terribly excited about. Or buying maybe a close like this. Obviously, I'm not trying to cherry pick for hindsight, but that's just, those are the looks. Niles, good morning. All right. See what we get. Come on now, bulls. All right, we're 15 seconds out. This bar is not looking too promising, but if the bulls can give us a last second adjustment and close it up near the high, then I would have to use this guy. A stop limit buy. We're not going to get it. That's going to close as a doji. All right, we'll go next bar. We'll pop around the 1 minute, the 2 minute, and see what else there is to break the ice here on stream today. All right, I'm gonna have to pop over to the 2. You see how this bare body closed beneath this wick low? It's not enough for me to get short, but if we got a second one, I would. And yeah, that's a 20 EMA on the 2 minute. Don't care. The 2 minute is not relevant enough for the 20 EMA to matter to me. It's always comma to me, right? So let's see here. We got 35 seconds. Let's see if the Bears are able to put something together. Ooh, balls. Nothing here on the 2 for me. Back to the 5. All right, 3 minutes. Let's see here. What do you guys think? Am I a crazy man for buying the high a day? What do you think? If we get the close, that is. I know a lot of people get deeply offended when you buy the high a day or sell the low a day. Historically, it's one of my best setups. Gotta love it if you can get the setup 2 minutes out. Yeah, ATR over on the 2 minute, 12.5. On the 5, 23.5. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. We can work with that. But, gotta tell you, for me to get long, I would need to see the bulls close above 24.20. But not at like 24.40. Because then the risk on the signal bar gets too big. And we still, by the way, let me just help you understand what I'm looking at. I want the signal bar to be in, but as small as possible in doing so. So in is closing above that wick high, right? But we're still looking at this wedge. So if that rejects, I don't want to have to risk a giant signal bar. Because I'm, taking the trade right in the face of that potential, which I'm okay with, assuming the bar is not 60 points tall. So let's see here, 45 seconds out. All right, 25 seconds here. Again, if the bulls can close this above that wick high, which is the high of day, just so happens, I will be a crazy man and use a stop limit buy to buy that high a day. Come on now, bulls. 8 seconds. Close us above 24.20. The spineless bulls strike again. Nothing. Next bar. Michael, good morning. How we doing? All right, let's pop over to the 2. Well, I mean, actually, let's go to the 1 first. Yeah, ATR on the 1 minute chart is 7. Oh, okay. Okay, hang on now. There's the pop through. You guys see that? A few stops getting triggered. 4 points. That's not too bad. All right, let's keep an eye. Actually, we have 90 seconds out from the close of the 2 minutes, so let's go to the 2. David, yes, sir. Quite the trade yesterday. That was a fun one. And yes, there's a video on the channel. If any of you would like to rewatch it, there is a long video that got posted to the channel last night. We are 60 seconds out approximately from the close here on the 2 minute chart. Vin, good morning. All right. Holy zoom. All right, we're 25 seconds out, and I'll tell you what. We're looking at a 2 minute chart. This bar is growing, but it's within reason now. Due to the size of the bar itself, I gotta tell you, rather than, it depends how it closes up here in the next 10 seconds. But I may buy the rollover using a limit buy. Actually, I'm gonna have to go stop limit buy. Place that guy there. Oh, beauty. Beauty. See if the bulls can give us a decent push. Suck that risk up and see if the bulls can give us a push. ATR here on the 2 minute chart is 12. All right, bulls, keep that pushing through. That's decent. That's decent. See if we can get a full ATR. About. Bears trying to step in. ATR 12.8. All right, bulls, take another run at it. Another run at him now, bulls. I'd like to get 12, 13 points if we could. That'd be about a full ATR. And with the size of this signal bar here, for me, that's what makes the most sense. You know, I could pull it like here, basically, for half an ATR, but with that risk, I want to get a full. To make the trade make logical and mathematical sense for me. Well, we got a nice quick fill and a quick pop through. Never quite got the full ATR. It flashed about 11. At best, I'd probably gotten 10 and a half points. But ATR at the time was damn near 13. Now sitting about 12. Drinking little bull body with a wick. You know, you don't love to see it. But if you manage to trade every time you saw something that you don't love, you'd be out of the market every 2 seconds. Need something definitive here to manage early, but looking to still get that full ATR out of the scalp. All right, bulls, take a run at it. Do it to him, do it to him. Hmm. 10 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Let's see how this closes up. Inside, I mean, well, basically an even close. You see this? Within a tick or two, it closed inside the previous bar's wick low. Had this bare body closed like here, my plan says cut it, move on. It didn't, which means if I were flat, I would not be getting short on this bare body. But I'll tell you what I will do, and this is going to seem ridiculous, but I am going to place my stop there and just see, because if the bears take out this wick low, I want to reassess. Okay, so we'll put our stop. It's going to look ridiculous, okay? But that's how I'm going to manage that trade, and we'll see if we can reassess. All right, minute 13 out here on the 2-minute. We got 2 minutes. Okay, so we're a minute left on the 2. We got 2 minutes left on the 5. There's trade number 1 of the day. Basically a scratch. Let's see here. That's not fair to say. It wasn't a scratch. It was a small loser. Not gonna bullshit you. But about half the size of what I was looking for to get out of a winner out of that trade. Again, we got 11 points, the money at best. I needed like 12 and a half, 13. So that's all right. Let's see here how we close up on this 2-minute bar, 25 seconds. And then we have a minute 25 on the 5-minute. All right, that's going to close up as a doji, essentially. So let's pop over to the 5. All right, 10 seconds here. Yeah, I mean, could I short using a stop limit sell beneath that bar? Sure. But after these two guys and this guy back here, not really into it. I mean, listen, there is a discretionary aspect to this. If you're somebody who thinks like me, let me save you. Try to save you. You're probably not going to listen, and that's cool, because I wouldn't have listened either. But let me try to maybe save you a few years. If you think purely robotic, and you're like, discretionary is bullshit, this is all robotic. That's how I thought. And it turns out it wasn't right. For me. Now, if you're an algorithm, it is pretty robotic. But it's also rather complex. Okay, and if you're making, as an algorithm, you have the advantage of being able to trade 1 million plus times a day. 100,000 times a day, whatever. We don't have that. We're humans, okay? So, being strictly robotic, meaning when this happens, I do this, when this happens, I do this. It's... I don't think being 1,000% robotic is even possible, because there always has to be someone on the other side of your trade, and eventually, if you make money every time that you take a robotic setup and they lose, eventually that other side is going to fizzle out on that setup, and the setup's going to stop coming. It's not like you're going to put the order out and it just will never get filled because there's no one there. It just wouldn't present itself anymore, that setup, because you would have people buying a little earlier or selling a little later or whatever it might be, and it just wouldn't materialize anymore, that setup. So there has to be an element of discretionary decision making to this, I think, no matter kind of how you're trading. But you guys see, I'm probably, oh God, I don't even want to put a number on it, but I'm probably like 60% robotic, 40% discretionary when trading futures. That's probably like a fair assessment, which is right in the spectrum, which is where you should be. Now, in the very early days, most people start as 100% discretionary. I actually made a video on this once. Most people start 100% discretionary, and that's very wrong, because you're trying to make decisions based on no experience, and that's not a fault of you. It's just you haven't looked at enough charts for that to be reasonable. You're competing with people who have looked at charts for 50 years every day. So, I've looked at a lot of charts, and I've looked at charts every day, every single day the market has been open. I've seen most candles. Certainly, I've seen pretty much every bar for at least 7-8 years. And then I was dabbling a little before that. Which is kind of nuts. Like, that's a lot. And we're competing with people who have 30, 40, 50 years of doing that, which is crazy. So what you should do, rather than starting 100% discretionary, is start 100% robotic for like the first week or two, just to kind of figure it out and get data. And then you start seeing things repeating, even after a week or two. It doesn't take a lot of time. And then you sprinkle in like a pinch of discretionary into your robotic trading, and you slowly move in. Discretionary, robotic, you slowly move in. And then wherever you end up is where you end up. I think that's the way to do this. "35 seconds out here. Let's see what we get." All right, inside close there out of that 5 minute. 2 minute is looking like nothing right now. Let's pop over to the 1. The 1 minute's looking like something. Do we get crazy and put on a chart, on a scalp on the 1 minute chart? There's nothing here yet. I could see it. ATR is 8.9 here on the 1 minute. Of course, you know, someone can make the argument, that's a flat top, that's a flat top. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's not a certainty. About 10 seconds out here. Again, we're looking at a 1 minute chart. If this bull body closes up near the high, this is purely a scalping mentality. I'm going to give that about 10 seconds. If that can fill us in the next 5 seconds, since we're on a 1 minute chart, it's got to be quick. If not, we'll pull it. No trade. Moving on, next bar. All right, let's head to the 2 minute. Closing here in about 25 seconds. All right, 15 seconds. If this bull body here on the 2 minute chart can close above that wick high, which is the high of day, I'm gonna have to slap a stop limit buyout, so above 46 and a quarter. Yeah, no trade, no place. Not there. Next bar. Let's pop over back to the 5 and see what's up. Here's the 5 minute. A lot of you guys getting short, huh? Yeah, I mean, listen, the probabilities, right now, I don't think we're in a 70-30 market. That's only 5% of the time. 95% of the time, on any given bar, you're probably looking at about a 60 to 40 probability we're estimating, right? You're never going to know for sure. But 95% of the time, at best, you're probably looking at 60-40, at best. If not, 52-48, 55-45. Probability of it doing what you want versus what you don't want. So if I'm getting long and a bunch of you guys are like, I'm getting short, a lot of people would be like, you're wrong, I'm right. Bullshit. Bullshit. I am not going to stand on business about a 60% at best that I think is right. Probability. Hell no. That's crazy to me. Which is why it's always kind of silly when you see people online being like, ha, dumbass, I'm gonna fade you. Ha, you're short, long is the play. It's like, okay. Glad you're so sure about 60-40 probabilities. That's kind of crazy to me. We live in a fog, baby. Accept it, embrace it. Doesn't mean you can't make a whole bunch of money. There is edge in the fog. You just gotta be careful not to overestimate the probabilities of said trades within the fog. Makes you look foolish. "45 seconds out. All right, well, let's get ready here either way. We have 15 seconds. I'm going to get the copy trader engaged. And if this bull body can see a last second adjustment and close up above like 46, yeah, I'd be looking to get long. I don't think we're going to get it. We're not going to get it. There's the rollover. No trade, next bar. Let's pop on back over to... We'll head on over to the 2-minute here. And see what we can grab. I think we're probably coming into a sideways trading range. At least for a little bit. I don't know, just don't overthink it, just draw it. Something like that. But I need to see this bar close quite a bit lower. Otherwise, we're right in the middle of the trading range, if not the low end of the top third. Yeah, here's the rollover. That's right in the middle of the trading range. Nothing there for me. All right, let's pop to the 1. Here's a 1-minute chart. See, this is where you got to think, which is why trading is a game of sitting in a room by yourself thinking. Because when you look at a 1-minute, you're like, clear, it's obvious, right? Well, is it? I mean, look at a 2-minute chart. Because I see this. I think that's probably more reasonable. I mean, you have the 20 EMA on the 2. I mean, again, I don't look at the 20 EMA on the 2 too much, but it is there, right at the low end. So, you know what? Let's stay here on the 2-minute. We have, at least for now, 50 seconds. Let's see what we get as far as a close here. Bull's trying to wick this baby back upside. 10 seconds here. Yeah, big ol' inside close. All right, let's head back to the 5. We've got a dual rollover incoming here. The 5 and the 2, and I guess the 1 as well, will all close at the same time. So we'll look at the 5. We're a minute 45 out from the close. Let's see what we get. Well, ATR here on the 5-minute chart is about 20.6. So we'll keep that in mind. Okay. All right, we're about 25 seconds out here. Let's see how this bear body closes up. We're looking at a 5-minute chart. I'm going to get the copy trader ready to rock, engaged. And right now I just have a channel scalp mentality because I think we're in a sideways trading range. At least that's the look that I believe right now is most probable. So 5 seconds out. Let's see how this bear body closes up. Punch that to the long side. I'll suck risk up, keep risk pretty damn tight on this trade. If we break the wick low of this bigger bull body, I'm no longer really interested, to be honest with you. Let's see if the bulls can just fade it back up into the channel a little bit and see what we get. Risk is tight here, 11 points. ATR 19.4. All right, bulls, fade us back up into the trading range. That's what this is. There you go. All right, ATR just under 20. Looking to see if we can get maybe half an ATR on this scalp. Bulls, you're trying to fade it up, not really getting the job done too quick. It's always nice to be put deep in the money quick on scalps. Of course, on reversion scalps, you gotta be a little more patient on average, because you're asking for it to stop in its tracks, turn around, and move. All right, bulls. Let's show everybody that this is a trading range. ATR 19.7, looking to get about half of that. About a minute 37 left on this 5-minute bar, by the way. Now, it seems to me like the bears might want this 20 EMA on the 5. And I gotta tell, I mean, you could say, well, I'm gonna risk this curl or this curl to keep my risk under the 20 EMA. No, not for me. This is the big bull body that put us in what I'm thinking is a trading range. So if they crack that to go test the 20, we can just reassess. We can always take another scalp. That's the difference kind of between scalping and swing trading. I think with scalping, you're less attached to each individual trade, and you're willing to do it again. And we saw last week, I took back-to-back. One didn't work, took it again. I think we might have taken it a third time, I forget. But damn it, bulls! This is a trading range, and you will treat it as such. Fade that baby back up in there. Let's get this done. ATR 18.5. All right, if those bears take out that wick low, we'll cut this baby, reassess. All right, we're flat. And let's move on. ATR 19, below 20 here on the 5. This is, by the way, the test of the 20 EMA. We still have 3 minutes, 15 seconds left on this bar. I'm not going to include this body. 3 bear bar sequence. Not small, average. Shrinking, growing. If it can hold up, obviously. But right into the 20 EMA, it makes you think. We haven't seen a sequence like this all day. We've had 2 bear bar sequences. Never 3, at least on the 5 minute. Which honestly just makes me more interested to buy it, since I still believe, I don't want to forget kind of the OG, which is, I think we're in a soft bull channel when you zoom out. All right, less than 2 minutes out. Let's see what we get here. All right, this is one of those scenarios where we're right at the bottom of the soft bull channel, but it's the first consecutive bear sequence of the day, at least 3 that looks decent for the bears, which is going to give them some kind of confidence they haven't seen all day. which leads me to say I need more information. I think the market here is confused, and if the market's confused, what the hell am I? You know, I'm not going to be able to figure it out. So we need one more bar. While that happens here on the 5, let's pop over to the 1 and see what's up over here. Not a lot. 2 minutes looking a little more interesting. So, you know, we'll keep an eye on the 2. All right, I mean, we are 30 seconds out. We are on a 2-minute chart, and I'm watching this big bull body. Because I do think overall today we're in a soft bull channel. And let's see how this closes up. 10 seconds out. I will get the copy trader ready to rock. Now that line is a 20 EMA here on the 2, which I don't care that much about. Place that guy there. Instant fill, which is a beauty. Suck wrist back. And there we go. ATR here on the 2-minute chart is just under 11. See if these bulls can give us a little bit better of a push than we've been seeing on some of these moves here today. After these bigger bull bodies. Again, ATR here is 11. $55 seconds left here on this 2-minute. I will take it bar by bar if necessary. Right now, that's not looking too necessary. $30 seconds. All right. Very, very, very small bare body close. So we'll keep an eye on this here and watch again. We'll go by bar by bar if needed. That for me, that's not a decision bar. A decision made on that bar is an emotional decision. For me. At least would be. Which is why I wouldn't do it, damn it. Alright, bulls. I still think we're looking at a trading range up top here within that overarching soft bull channel that is getting softer and softer as we go. ATR 10.6. Well, there we go, bulls. That's half a backbone. Can we get a full one? Let's see. 30 seconds left here on this 2 minute. Well, there's the rollover. Again, no decision to be made on that bar. So let's keep an eye out here. Well, minute 55 at this point. That last close on the 5 minute, by the way, about 90 seconds ago was pretty damn clean. Right now we are on the 2, of course. But I'll keep an eye on other time frames. There you go, bulls. ATR 10.3. All right, bulls. Let's take it through those previous 2 wick highs of those last 2 bars. Let's get us to at least a full ATR, man. Looking at about 10, 10 and a half on the ATR. ATR dipping below 10. 9.7 on the 2 here now. You know, this is one of those scenarios that as a scalper can be kind of mentally tough, because this here was my signal bar. And then you start getting this and it starts getting wicky, but there is no signal bar, at least for me, to manage early. Okay, so you start sitting here and it's like, you start getting in your own head. It's like, well, the setup, it's changed a little bit. And listen, if you want to come to the conclusion where when this kind of thing happens, you get flat and reassess, totally cool. Totally cool, by the way. It's just, I like to keep my decisions rule-based, more rule-based than discretionary a little bit, because it keeps the decision-making easy. Okay, which is extremely important. You want to stay as stress-free as possible while you're trading. So I know what I need to do and when to do it exactly. But when this kind of thing starts to happen, and by the way, there's another thing here. If we're trading prop firms, which we are, Apex, for example, is not into what looks to be ridiculously poor reward to risk. And if you're getting flat a point in the money, and you're doing it consistently, not to take profit, but just to get flat because the setup has changed in your mind, they might look at that and deny you payouts because they're saying your reward to risk is consistently, you're taking 1 to 10 reward to risk. It's like, no, I'm getting flat. They'll say, sorry, man, I don't know. That's what we see. So you got to think about that. That's part of the reason also. But all right, bulls, let's take that through. ATR 9.7. There you go. Finally, a little show of backbone here out of the bulls. Let's get a bit better push rocking. There we go. Not bad. Keep that moving, bulls. Close. Boom, there is one ATR and we will get a fill. All right, we got our full ATR out of that trade. Good, good scalp. Let's move on. Now here comes the rollover of this bar. I will let that be for now because I want to pop back over to the 5-minute and see what's up over there, see what we can get. All right, back over here on the 5-minute, about 2 minutes, 40 seconds out. All right. All right. 20 seconds out. We're on a 5-minute chart. Copy trader engaged. We are coming into this flat top high of day. And you want to know something crazy? Am I a wild man? Maybe, but I'm going to get a stop limit buy ready and just see how we close up here. I'm going to place it and I'm going to give it, guess what? 15 seconds. We're going to give it nothing. Because if we do not get quick resolution and a through and a punch on this scalp, I want no part of it. You ready to cancel the order if we don't get a fill? No fill, pull it. Nothing. We'll move on. Next bar. No quick resolution. Brutal. Ruthless. No longer deserves my attention. All right, we're about 3.5 minutes out. Man, if you guys haven't yet, hit like on the live stream. It does help out tremendously, and I appreciate you doing so. Or hit dislike. It all does the same thing, believe it or not. So do whatever you want. Hit something, man. I appreciate you doing so. All right, 2.5 minutes out, halfway through this 5-minute bar. Clark, you're damn straight you do, buddy. Appreciate that. Now this hesitation, this is what we didn't get a fill on, right? This hesitation makes me start to think, all right. I mean, is there a stop hunting mentality there? Kinda. But it's tight. It's tight. It's not really an aggressive test anymore now that we've seen the last, 3 minutes, 40 seconds of this 5-minute bar that is just hesitating right above it, or right below it. So what I start to think is, I think we're probably just seeing a collapsing wedge that eventually breaks out. You say, which direction does it break out? Well, in my experience, it's about 45% probability it breaks the ascending level. 55% probability it breaks the flat. Flats are usually a little weaker. Now, please, when I say 55-45, I mean 55-45. I don't mean 90-10. All right, there's the rollover there of that 5-minute, and that is a whole bunch of nothing. All right, guys, quick break. Be back in a couple minutes. Go nowhere. I am tracking it. Just kidding, I won't know. But hang out with me. I'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, welcome back. We are still sitting here on a 5-minute chart. You want to see something nuts? That's a 2-minute chart right now. That's ugly as all hell, so let's head back to the 5. ATR here on the 5, about 16. All right, 2 minutes, 10 seconds out. There we go, finally getting a little bit of movement. All right, 55 seconds out. If the bears can take this a bit lower, all of a sudden I become interested in trying to fade that back higher. Bulls are already stepping in trying. Let's see what we get as far as close. Yeah, those bulls, man, they're really looking at this, I think. That's the look right now. Mixed with this. You get quite the little collapsing wedge, don't you? That thing at this point is what, 20 points wide? Yeah, about 20 points wide. Gonna snap up at some point here. I would like to see that happen sooner rather than later, so we can get back to business. All right, ATR here on the 5-minute chart. We're down to about 15. That's pretty damn low, for being honest. ATR here on the 2-minute is 8.5. I don't even want to look at the 1 minute. The one, 5.6. All right, well, we'll hang it on the 5, 15 ATR. I mean, we can work with it. I do think the 2-minute being the wiki hell that it currently is, I do think we're going to see this collapsing wedge break up here quite soon, and then ATR will probably get back above at least 20 here on the 5-minute chart. That's the goal, at least. Let's see if we can get that rocking. Two minutes out. Bull's trying to come back up here for a test of that flat top. That's high a day. All right, 30 seconds here left on this 5-minute bar. Let's see, can the bears break this lower? If they can, we still have that 20 EMA here on the 5 to deal with at 24,019, in which case, you know, I wouldn't be against buying a test of that, at least if we got a bear bar closing near its low right against that area. Just because you could also draw, you know, it's always going to be a range, right? You could always draw this, that kind of way. It all forms a wedge, right? The flat top you can draw about one way, give or take a couple of points. So come on now, somebody break this out. Give us a little volatility. ATR now dipping beneath 15 on the 5-minute chart here. We're at 14.84. About 3.5 minutes out here. I mean, I guess let's pop around, Here's the 1 minute. Okay, you know, you actually could trade the 1 minute. The bars themselves are actually clean. It's just ATR is 5. It can be done. It's just, it kind of starts to feel like Asia session. 2 minute. I mean, you know, I have hope this is starting to move a little bit, at least compared to this little sequence here. So let's pop back to the 5. This thing's gonna break sooner rather than later. Has to. Doesn't have to do anything actually, but it will. And we'll get some volatility pouring back in. I really think this ATR, we're gonna see that pop back above 20. Vin, Nico, I saw your video of how to make your first 10,000 trading. That's a game changer. Yeah, you know, I mean, when I made that video, I just saw it as logical. But a lot of people have said that. I'm very glad to hear that. It's interesting how the math and logic behind what actually pays you as a trader isn't talked about because it's boring. I get it. It's not, you know, supercars and yachts and working 8 minutes a day. I get it. But I'd rather you sit through, I don't even want to call it boring because I love this shit. The data, looking at the stats, running numbers. I've been obsessed. I find it entertaining to run numbers. Before I was even a trader, I'll just sit with a calculator and run numbers with different ideas. And I know that might sound nuts, but some of you out there are like, you know what? I do the same thing. Great. You should be a trader. It's therapeutic to sit and run numbers about whatever the hell it might be. Usually money, you know. But it's fun. But if you're like, I hate numbers, it's like, okay, well, trading might be a tough thing for you to get into, honestly, if you hate numbers. But if you find it that boring, I'd rather you sit through it and then actually understand what's going to pay you if you do pursue this and make it work. You know, rather than spend all your time, not just 90%, all your time, you know, looking at the supercars and the fun stuff, which is awesome too. Gotta love it. Not against it in any way. It's just, you know, the dream of the Lamborghini, it doesn't pay you. It's good to have. But you gotta know what it really is too. 4 minutes, 20 seconds out. We were still in the 5 minute chart here. Bulls are trying to hold up that 20 EMA. All right, 2 minutes, 50 seconds left here on this 5-minute bar. Currently, we're sitting as essentially a gravestone doji. What a lot of people would call a gravestone doji. So let's see if the bears can actually give us some kind of break lower. If they can, it would need to be rather definitive, because it kind of has to be to the point, at least for me, to take a crack at it, where you can no longer really make this argument. There's a lot of ways to make that argument. I mean, you can make that argument like that. Break this down lower, like that even. So let's see here, but the bulls are still trying to hold up that 20 EMA on the 5-minute chart here. So we're going to leave this flat top here because that's certainly still a thing. Let's see how this develops. ATR 15.5. Any of you guys trading this slop little wedge right now? I'm actually curious. I mean, you could scalp it. It's just tough, because when you have a wedge like this, when it breaks out, it's usually violent, at least comparatively speaking to what we've been seeing. So it's a little bit tough to manage risk. I'm not against trading it. If we got a setup, I wouldn't be against putting it on. A lot of you guys are sitting short, huh? Yeah, I mean, we have the 20 EMA here. This bar, for me, it's not enough for me to get long. It just isn't. So, for the sake of self-respect, which is very important, I'm not going to break a rule and put something on there, but we do have 4 minutes left until the close of this 5-minute bar, and we might get some here that we can do something with as the bears try to take this lower. So let's see how this bar closes up. A few minutes out. Okay, we're about halfway through now this 5-minute bar. You could still very easily, make this argument, something like that, but it's starting to get harder and harder to make. You know, I made this argument earlier. You could draw it a million different ways. But let's see here. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left on this 5-minute. I would love to see if the bears could just take this baby through. Maybe even close beneath this wick. All of a sudden, that becomes pretty definitive. That's making a very big ask, though, when the ATR is under 15. All right, 30 seconds here. Now, with the size of this bar, this is molasses, man. It's still way too easy to make the argument that this is an ascending soft bull channel with a flat top, so a wedge, right? So I'm gonna let this roll over. I need one more bar. There's nothing I can do here. So with one more bar, if we see the bears take this lower yet again and close it in a growing bear body near the low, it's over. I'm getting short. Okay, but gonna have to see that happen, so come on, bears. Let's make this happen. Get that ATR up in the meantime. ATR here on the 5-minute, now sitting 14. By the way, if you are not yet aware, Apex is back to 80% off and single day pass with code BIG, B-I-G. Of course, it gives you the best deal always. But they just announced that, well, the other day. I think yesterday. No. The night before yesterday, I believe. But it's back to 80% off, which is tremendous. When Apex goes to 50, it's kind of sad, because it's like, yeah, it's usually the lowest deal they run is 50%, but 80 is tremendous. The numbers look really good at 80% off. So I will probably be hitting that here. But in the meantime, let's see if we can get the bears closing this baby near the low. All right, we got about 2 minutes out. Let's see if the Bears can hold it together here. Come on, Bears, hold it together for us. Give us something to do. 2 minutes. Bears are not holding it together. Now, this actually does get interesting if the Bulls close this up into something representative of a bull body. We're 22 seconds out. Let's see if anyone can do anything here. $15 seconds. Nothing. Nothing. Tiny, tiny little bear body with a big old wick. If that's not a nothing bar, I don't know what is. So we'll watch next bar here. All right, let's pop around. Let's go to the 1 minute to start. ATR is 5.9. Maybe improving a little bit on the ATR here on the 1 minute. 2 minute ATR is 8. A little over, which is not great. Under 10 for the ATR on the 2 minute is kind of low. But you can still work with it. I mean, we did trade 4th of July when ATR was about, what, 2.9? And back on the 5 here, ATR is now 13.9, which is... Is this the lowest we've seen? Probably in at least... I think I'm right about this. I think this is the lowest ATR we've seen on the 5 minute chart in at least a week or two. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, 3 minutes left here on this 5 minute. Let's see if the Bears can grow something that looks like a backbone here. If they could close it beneath this wick low at 24.3. That's 24,003. That is. All of a sudden, things have changed. And I gotta look to get short. But let's see if the Bears can do that. I mean, we got 9 points to go. Actually, more like 10 or 11 or 12 if you want to get beneath there, which I do. All right, we've got about 1 minute left here on this 5-minute bar. Here comes the rollover. A whole lot of nothing. ATR here on the 5-minute chart down to about 13 and a quarter. Okay, for me right now, my eye is on 24,003, which ultimately means 24,000. That is a tier 1 level, 24,000. We got to keep an eye on that. If we could see a flush out of the bears that closed beneath there, that still makes my life easy as far as managing risk within reason. Assuming it doesn't close at like 23,970 or 80. That makes the bar a little too big for the current volatility environment to be able to manage risk within reason. But in 3.5 minutes, if the bears could get that done, all of a sudden I am looking to get short using a stop limit sell and risking the signal bar. All right, bears, that's something we haven't seen in a little while, huh? All right, 24,000 is the area to watch. 2 minutes, 43 seconds left on this 5-minute bar. There we go, bears. That's something that we needed to see. Good, good, good. Halfway through this bar, let's see how this gets. Let's see how we're sitting as we near. I'm trying to say the close, and then we'll see if we can put a stop limit sell out. And look to get short. I don't know, man. I don't know if I have high hopes if the bears are going to be able to hold this lower. Two minutes. All right, baby. We're finally getting some of interest. Pop back to the execution screen and get ready. Minute 45 out. Come on, bears. Hold it beneath 24,000. Give us something. 3 trades on the day. I don't know, man. Kind of light. Kind of light. Oh, bears. Bears, bears, bears. UTs. All right, well, we're about 30 seconds out, and I'm gonna have to get ready here, so I will get the copy trader engaged. But I need to see this bear body close beneath 24,000. If the bears can pull that off here in the last 15 seconds, give us a decent adjustment, I'm gonna have to put this guy to use. That is a stop limit sell. I'll get ready. I don't have the highest of hopes that they're gonna be able to pull that off. And they will not be able to. So we'll cancel that order, and we'll go next bar. See if somebody can grow a backbone here and do something of any kind of definitive nature. $325 out. Yeah, I mean, the Bears took it down through 23,994. Then immediately got reversed on. Halfway through this bar, 2.5 minutes. You know, I'm looking at the whole day. And, you know, at least for me, let me think. For me, I'm looking at the whole day, and if I'm thinking, okay, if I came into today and said all I'm going to do is swing trade, the way that I swing trade, there was maybe 2 entry opportunities, and it did not give you, if you were someone who was shooting for 2-to-1 reward to risk on a swing, you're like, okay, I'm going to risk the signal bar times 2, which is extremely reasonable, by the way, for a swing trader. Neither of those would have put you deep enough in the money yet. Now, if you were going 1-to-1, both of the obvious swings would have hit. But it would have taken some time. This is one of those lower volatility days where it really is helpful to be able to scalp. It's just, even with scalping, it's been kind of tough to find anything here. I mean, we've taken 3 trades. It's not like we've had none. Sometimes the market's a little slow. We got to get through these times. Here comes the rollover. Big old doji close. All right, guys, hey, that's noon. If there's any time ever for me to go hit lunch, it's right now. Take profit, trader. While the market is slow, do your management of your accounts. Take profit is 40% off, and you don't pay the over $100 activation fee when you pass if you use code BIG when you buy the test, code BIG. That's a ridiculous deal, okay? You get 40% off the top, no activation fee when you pass, code BIG at Take Profit Trader. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Hopefully this afternoon cleans up in terms of volatility and we get something. Maybe the volatility will pop up to 26 this afternoon, and that would be tremendous. A man can dream. Let's see if we get that this afternoon. All right, guys, hope you have a good rest of the day. If you're going to trade the afternoon, if you're going golfing, I guess I don't blame you. But we're going to get something this afternoon. Be patient. Be patient. This is a big part of trading, is sitting and waiting when the market's doing nothing. But, huge clarification. When the market isn't doing nothing, if you get 16 setups that are high quality in one day, you gotta hit them. At least as many as you don't miss. Right? If you get up, go to the bathroom, whatever, don't worry about it. If you're eating, you're like, I don't want to worry about it. Don't worry about it. But if you're sitting and you're working, you're looking at the screen, finger on the trigger, and a setup of what you assess to be A, even B plus quality presents itself, hit it. You gotta hit it. But when it's not there, it's this. But if you get 5 in 30 minutes, hit it. It feels like you're doing things that are kind of out of the norm. Maybe it's a break of plan. You're not. If you're following your rules, these come in waves. Sometimes you'll go 4 hours having to literally do nothing. Other times you'll go 40 minutes and take 8 trades. That's the way that this goes. It's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. That's just the way she goes. But make sure you're following the plan along the way. All right, guys. Have a good afternoon. Stay patient. I'll see you tomorrow.